Dozens of communities across the valley are honoring fallen soldiers on this Memorial Day holiday. This is the ceremony at Riverside Cemetery in Fargo this morning, where people gathered to honor America's military members who lost their lives fighting for our country. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps will offer their tribute to members of the armed forces who have gone before. Wreaths are placed at the cross at the head of the graves. Now, the Fargo VFW and American Legion are hosting ceremonies throughout the day. One is just getting underway now at Sunset Memorial Gardens in South Fargo. The Color Guard and Rifle Squad are there and taps will be played. Folks in Grand Forks honored veterans in a service this morning at Memorial Park South. Memorial Day ceremonies are underway across the country, and as Bradley Blackburn reports, this year's Memorial Day events include remembrances of those who were lost in the pandemic.
President Biden marked Memorial Day solemnly laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Afterward, he talked about the sacrifice so many have made to defend our country.
We're gathered at this sacred place in this solemn hour to engage in the most fundamental of undertakings, the right of remembrance.
The president urged Americans not to let the fallen heroes' deaths be in vain.
Democracy itself is in peril, here at home and around the world.
He called on Americans to remember what unites us.
Empathy is the fuel of democracy. Our willingness to see each other, not as enemies, as neighbors, even when we disagree, to understand.
Here in New York, veterans are gathering to reflect and remember together in person, something they could not do last year.
You never forget the guys that gave up their lives for this country.
Intrepid veterans say they lost 150 crew members in the last year. Many of them died from COVID-19. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
President Biden visited a gravesite in Arlington National Cemetery after a speech and spoke with family there. Well, most city, county, and state offices are closed today in observance of Memorial Day. However, emergency police and fire services will continue. City buses in Grand Forks and in the FM Metro are not running today. If your garbage is usually picked up on Monday, it will be collected tomorrow or Wednesday along with those regularly scheduled routes. Well, the weather is quite pleasant. It makes me want to find someone with a boat and ask them for a ride. Let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green. Happy Monday, Lisa.
Good afternoon. It is beautiful out there. We've got lots of sunshine. Temperatures are on the rise. It's still a little cool this afternoon. We're at the noon hour and temperatures are into the 60s right now. It's 65 degrees in Fargo and 64 in Grand Forks, Devils Lake, Jamestown, all at 64, and so is Detroit Lakes and Fergus Falls. So not the ideal kind of temperature for hitting the lakes, but still lots of sun, not too much wind as well. We've got wind out of the northwest, and in some cases some gusts into the teens, a gust to 20 in Sisseton right now. So a little bit of wind and that northwesterly direction keeping things a little cooler. You can see that we do have a couple of clouds popping up this afternoon in our eastern counties. We may see a little more of that as we continue on this afternoon. Fair weather, cumulus, kind of heating of the day type clouds. So if you have some ceremonies you're heading out to this afternoon into this evening, maybe heading out to the cemetery, well, we're looking at some really great conditions to be outdoors. Make sure you're wearing your sunblock, lots of sunshine, but it should be pretty comfortable out there. High temperatures today around 70 to 75 degrees in Fargo with mild conditions. Now, we're really going to ratchet up the heat as we head into midweek this week. So we're going to talk about just how warm we're going to get and how long it will last in a couple of minutes.
We'll stay tuned with you in a few minutes. Thanks, Lisa. Well, new at noon, one man has died, another is facing charges after a crash between a minivan and a sprayer this morning. The North Dakota Highway Patrol says the sprayer was driving north on Highway 1806 when it was rear-ended by a Dodge Caravan. The crash happened around 7:30 this morning, about 3 miles south of Huff, North Dakota. Both vehicles spun out into the east ditch. The 71-year-old driver of the sprayer was thrown and died at the scene. The driver of the van, 89-year-old Robert Stanley of Mandan, was taken to a Bismarck hospital and charges are pending. A Minnesota woman is being treated for serious injuries after an ATV crash near Pewatt Lakes. The Cass County Sheriff's Office says she hit several trees and was thrown from the vehicle while driving on a trail. The woman was treated at the scene, then flown by helicopter to a hospital. A man drowned after jumping out of a boat to save his girlfriend at a lake in southern Minnesota this weekend. Authorities say a woman fell in the water Saturday evening when the two were boating on Crystal Lake. That's just south of Burnsville. 36-year-old Matthew Brush jumped in to help. His girlfriend was able to climb back into the boat, which then drifted away before Burst went underwater. The Dakota County Sheriff's Office says they recovered Burst's body about 11:30 at night Saturday. Well, they usually work together, but this week, Fargo Police and Fire are going head-to-head for a good cause. Over the next 2 days, Fargo Fire and Police are competing to get people to donate blood. Now, every time someone does, it saves up to 3 lives. This donated blood helps accident and burn victims, organ transplants, and treatment for leukemia and cancer. In the United States, 38% of people are eligible to donate blood, but less than 10% actually does. And some don't donate because they are afraid of needles, while others are never asked.
You know, we get afraid, and that's okay. It's okay to be afraid. But I tell you, afterwards, you get through it, and it's just amazing because, you know, you've saved a life right then. You walk out kind of with a little skip in your step.
The Battle of the Badges is tomorrow and Wednesday from 1 to 7 at night. It's at the American Red Cross on 12th Street in North Fargo. To make an appointment, go to redcrossblood.org or download the Red Cross Blood Donor app. Well, not only is today a holiday, it also marks the start of game warden patrols on North Dakota lakes and rivers. To get ready for the season, state game wardens make sure all their safety equipment is in the right place and in good working condition. They also have to clear the GPS tracks from last year because the rivers change so often. Sandbars and areas of shallow water often move from year to year. The most common violation they see is boaters not having enough life jackets on board. Now, last year, game wardens in the state wrote 261 of those violations. If you reel in a fish with a tag on it, the North Dakota Game and Fish Department is asking for you to report it. Studies are going on in popular fishing lakes across the state to give biologists important information about fishing habits and population movement. You can throw the fish back or keep it as long as you report the information on the jaw tag. To report a tagged fish, just head to the North Dakota Game and Fish Department's website. Now, if you're thinking ahead to fall, you have just a couple days left to apply for your deer gun license in North Dakota. The deadline to submit for the 2021 hunting season is this Wednesday, June 2nd. Applicants for regular deer gun, Grastis, youth, and muzzleloader can apply online through the North Dakota Game and Fish Department's website. If your deer license isn't drawn in the lottery, you can get a refund for the general game and habitat license. Well, coming up at noon, a program making a big difference in the lives of veterans by helping them transition back into the working world. And the weather is feeling pleasant for those attending memorial services. Weather up next to plan your day with meteorologist Lisa Green.